Hi everyone, Rodrigo here once again for ALTERYX classes, and today I'm gonna introduce you the preparation tools. Let's do it together. So guys, firstly we need to open our project. If you are coming the first time in our YouTube channel, just check our last class about input data tools and then come to this video, right? Because there I told you about this project and how to start to using the ALTERYX designer, right? So today we're gonna continue the last class. So check that one before and then come here, okay? So for you guys that are in the same page then as me, so let's just double click in our project ALTERYX for beginners. Just double click in this type of file, right? And just wait some seconds until ALTERYX designer just completely appear in our screen. Forget about this window, is not necessary. In your case, probably we won't appear this kind of window. And now here we have the same tools that we used in the last class, so the input tools. Today we're gonna continue with this project, but before we start we need to click in the button run once, just to ALTERYX rememorize, so just to ALTERYX show us the datas. And now we can see in the outputs symbol here the results of our database. So here we have all the columns and the rows, and now if we check it and everything's all right, we can continue, right? So we have two databases in our workflow. So the first one containing the interest, the datas. This is about Brazilian Selic interest, the specific financial from here in Brazil. And the second one is about the calendar of months and ID of months, right? There is some warnings here from ALTERYX that we're gonna solve in the next steps, right? So don't worry about these warnings over here. So let's go back to dynamic rename tool and look at the output symbol. In the output we can see the all database with the columns, but when we look here, there is in the background a type of data of each column that the ALTERYX shows. To see what type the data are, to see that we need just to check in this bottom metadata here. If we click in that, in this button, we can see the list of the datas, right? The name of the datas, and then the type of the datas, and then the size of the datas, and the source, or which means the file and the path to get this data and input then in ALTERYX workflow, right? So this is the source, the size, the type, and name. So if you look, we have all of data with v string type, which means a text type, right? It's not exactly a text, guys. It's like a general type that accept everything that you put, like symbols or numbers or even letters. So all of stuffs you can use in this kind of data, v string, this type of data, right? So we have in ALTERYX the first tool that I will show you in the preparation section here is the tool about change it automatically this type of data, right? So if you have all data with type general, we can use this tool to just makes ALTERYX to change for us the type. For example, if I look to the data now, I will click in the data, not metadata, I will click in the data. If you look here, the data, that means date in Portuguese. Of course, this type of data is date, right? But when we look to metadata, we see that ALTERYX put it like v string. So we can use this tool that I will show you to change that automatically. So to do that, you need to go to the preparation section over here and then choose this autofill tool. So just drag the autofill tool, drop here, connect with the dynamic rename tool. So make the connection. If you don't have the connection, or if you make a wrong connection, just click in the connection, then click with the right button in your mouse and then delete connection here, and then just do it again, right? So now I have the connection. The outfield, when you click in the outfield, there's no much things to change in the setting, in the configurations of this tool, because this tool means that ALTERYX will change the type of data automatically without our interference, right? So just select the data that you want to change the types. So in this case, we will select all of datas, and then just press the run button. Now we can see the difference over here in the results section, in the results screen, right? This part of our screen, this below part here. So when we look to the input, the metadata input, we see all the data with type vstring. If you click in the output, now we can see that ALTERYX change a lot of data. So this one, number, the type continuous string but not vstring. What's the difference between them? The size of the field, right? So look the size. In the first one, the size is 255. It's like a pattern, a standard of size, and now the size is only 4, which means like 4 megabytes, not 4 characters, right? So just keep in your mind this one. This size is reference to megabytes, not exactly the characters of your data. So the first one, the ALTERYX changed to string. The second one, date. This one, bow, which means binary number, which means 0 or 1, yes or no. This is the type of bow. String, which means general. 2. Double, it's a number. Bow, I've already explained it to you, and vstring did you saw in the last example. So ALTERYX changed automatically the type of data. Now we can continue. So I really, I strongly recommend you guys that you only when you start your workflow use this kind of tool, because not this kind, but in fact actually this tool in your workflow, in the beginning of your workflow, because this tool will help you so much. You don't need to change manually each field of your database. Use this tool and change everything once, right? Only one time. So go back to the annotation, and then we can write here like change of types automatically. That's it. So this is the annotation. Now ALTERYX put the annotation here. And now guys, we are starting to use the preparation tools, which means that we can use these kind of tools to change, to prepare, not to change, to prepare our data for some counts or for some transformations, which means the using of math or statistic to explore more our data. So this is the first step, not the first, but the second step that we need to do when we start a workflow in ALTERYX. The first one is input data, right? And then we need to prepare this data for do something more in the future. So that's the reason these tools are called preparation tools. So now we can check our metadata, everything is all right. So we choose which column we will keep in our project, which means that we can filter some columns here, rename the columns because the names are in Portuguese, right? So we can change the names now, and you do even the rename it, even the filter of columns, even the change of types manually in the same tool. We can do all of these stuffs in the same tool. The tool is select. So go to the preparation, drag the select tool here and drop here, connect the tool with the autofill tool, and then go to the configuration of these two. In the configuration of these two, as I told you, we have a lot of different type of changes here. So firstly, we can reorganize our columns. So we can reorganize our columns here. To do that, we just need to click, for example, in the second field, data, the field data in this case, and put in the first place of our database. To do that, just select here and then move up with this arrow in the top of this configuration section, right? And then the second one I will told you is the field 9. So field 9 and then click move up, move up. Now data, now field 9. The third one that we use is the column retorno mensal. The last one, not the last one, this one, retorno mensal. And then move up, move up, move up. Finally, go to this column, %AA, and move up 1, 2, 3, 4. These are our four columns that we use in our workflow. So now we can just filter only these columns to continue our job. Just clicking this flag in front of the field and just click it only the fields that will continue in our workflow. So number we don't need, VS we don't need, %AA we don't need, %AM we don't need, and also this unknown we don't need. So we can just click out these flags, just take out this one and maintain only these four. Another thing that we can do with this kind of tool, the select tool, is to change the type, but now manually instead automatically that we did with autofield. In select tool we can do that manually. So the data is the name, the type is date, it's correct, so we don't need to change. The field 9 has data as well, but in this case has date as well, but in this case we have two dates and we have a separator between them, so we will keep in the string mode. Here we have retorno mensal. Retorno mensal, it's a number, a decimal number, so we can change that for double. Just click in the type and put double. And here we have %AA, which means number as well, so we can use double as well, right? Double, we use this type double when we have a number with comma. If you have a comma in your number, you can use double or even float. The difference between them is only the size of the field, right? So in this case I have 8 in the size. And finally we have here the rename, which means that we can rename the field. So data is Portuguese, so let's put this in English. So date, the field 9, the name is period. Okay, the period of the interest. This one, retorno mensal, means interest, monthly interest. And this one, the %AA, it's yearly interest. So that's it. We're gonna use these 4 fields in our workflow. So after do that, so firstly we rearrange the order of our database, and then we choose which field we will maintain our workflow, then choose the type, and finally rename it. So when we rename them, we just click in the button run once again. Now in the output of select, we have the results of our configuration. So only 4 columns with the name correctly, and the types we know that are correctly as well. And if we want to check, just click in the bottom metadata again, and then we can see the types changed, right? So go back to that data button, and then I will introduce you. Firstly, we can click on the select tool again, go to the annotation and say, what did you do with this tool? In this case, we did changes of order, rename, and manually types. That's it. Change of order, rename, and manually types. That's it. So the annotation, it's working. Okay, got it. Now we're gonna do one more preparation. Look over here, guys. In the output of select, we can see the first line with new values, right? So these new values are unnecessary for our workflow. So we can use another tool to filter these kind of rows. So we have a specific tool for filter rows in ALTERYX. This tool is called filter. So it's easy to find. Just go to the search part of your ALTERYX designer, and then just write filter, and you will see filter. Even you can take filter from here, or even in the preparation sections over here. Did you see? Okay, so just drag and drop the filter, connect to the selected, and then we have 2 types of filters, but I will introduce you only the basic one for now. I promise you in the future videos I will show you how to use these custom filters, okay? But for now, for you that is a beginner in ALTERYX, the basic filter will works really good for your case, right? So to filter, we just need to firstly in the configuration select which column we gonna filter. So in this case, we're gonna filter monthly interest. So I will take monthly interest from here. In the middle of this configuration, we have the signals. So equal, different, less than, more than, is null, is not null. In our case, we're gonna filter monthly interest, only the line is that is not null, right? So just click in this, is not null, and then we don't need to do anything. In case that we choose like equal something, here we need to do equal what, and then we write the comparison that we can filter, in this case in the monthly interest, right? But in this case I don't want to do that. I just want is not null datas. Okay, so ALTERYX, we're gonna go to all of our data set and just filter the datas that without null values. Just gonna filter the data without null values, right? So this is our filter. If you finish the filter, just click in the run button again, and if you look the results here, nothing happening because my mouse is selected the input symbol. So I need to go to the output. In this case, I have 2 outputs in the tool, because I have the true condition that respect the filter that we did here, and the false results that will show the condition that don't match with our filter. right? So the line null, it's over here in the false results, and the others are here in the true. Even if we had more than one line with null values, ALTERYX will had filter all of them, right? Don't worry about it. You just need to put the basic filter here, and we work with all of your data set, okay? So now we already have the data set correctly in the true result. So I don't need to do more filters, because in our case, the new values in the monthly interest are the same of yearly interest. So the filter works really good for both of these fields. So I don't need to do more filters. I need now to go to the annotation and say what I did with these two. So we filter of new values. So that's all. Filter of new values. Okay, now we have these three kind of preparations here. I will introduce the last two of preparation for today, but don't worry, we're gonna continue in the next videos. Go back to our calendar database, and here we have like some warnings. In the header of our field, the ALTERYX say something like not okay 8% of our data set and okay 91% of our data set. Why he do that? Because of this data with this red flag here. If you put your mouse, ALTERYX say this cell has trailing spaces, which means that there are more spaces than are unnecessary spaces in this data. So probably I wrote May and I put like double space, 3 space after the name May. This is why ALTERYX shows this kind of flags. To solve that, we don't need to go back our data set and correct manually all of data with a lot of spaces. We just use one specific tool that will solve all of this problem with cleansing data. The tool is called data cleansing. So let's go to the search part, because here I can see my tool easily. So I can go to the search part and just write data cleansing, and here it is, the data cleanse. Here there is. So drag and drop here, connect with the calendar, and now in data cleansing tool, we can do a lot of things in the same time as well. It's similar to select. We can do more than one only configuration with the same tool. In this case, we can remove null rows if you wanted. I showed it to you with filter tool because I intend to introduce you to this tool, but we can do that with data cleansing as well. Depend of the version of ALTERYX that you have in your laptop, in your computer, right? If you have old versions like 2020, 2019, probably we don't have this part of data cleansing configuration. Remove new rules or remove new columns, but if you don't want to do that, just don't flag it. Go now to the select field to cleansing. And in this part, we're going to select which field we want to change something. We want to cleansing. In our case, let's put all. I recommend you that do that. Just select all in the first time that you use data cleansing in your workflow. And then here we have some cleansing models to do with our data. In the first part, we have replace nulls, which means if we have numbers, the ALTERYX will put 0 instead null value. If you have null values, the ALTERYX will put 0 instead these null values. If you don't want to do that, just unflag it. right? And here we have replaced with blanks. If your field is has the type string or vstring or vw string, whatever, something related to string, the ALTERYX will just replace the new values with blank, right? Okay, I will just click in both because doesn't matter for our case. And there is this part that is a good part here: remove unwanted characters, which means leading and trailing white space. If I have this kind of white space in my data set, ALTERYX automatically will just leave it. Okay, also we can just remove tabs, line breaks, duplicate white space. In the same time we can do both in our data set. Okay, but ALTERYX will do these kind of things with the fields that you select over here. Okay, so don't forget to select which field you wanna do this kind of cleansing. All right, in our case we're gonna just use this leading trailing white space, but in our case you can just use to remove all white spaces, letters, or just numbers, or just punctuations, so whatever you wanted. Also we can just modify string fields here, just clicking this flag, and then we can modify the case. For example, if I want to uppercase all of my string fields, I can just select it here, modify case, and put uppercase. In our case, the calendar has months with uppercase and lowercase, which means title case. We can just choose that for all uppercase, the months, or all lowercase. I will use uppercase in all of these months, okay? So go back to the data cleansing tool, click there, wait a second, and then go to here, modify case, and put uppercase. The second ID month, it's a number type, right? So nothing will happen with this part, but ALTERYX will do this modification with the field month. Okay, so even I choose, if I choose this configuration, I can just click in the button run. And now check our output, January, February, and without any warming now. Okay, if you look to the input, there is a warming, and all of the months are like title case, which means the first upper and the rest of the name in lowercase, but in the output now all of the months are in upper cases. So we don't have more any problems, any cleansing problems with our data set. So let's go to the annotation and then put here cleansing of data. Okay, that's right. This is our the first 4 preparation tools that I want to show you guys. So now, before we leave, I want to introduce you one more documentation tool, the named container. So to use the container, firstly, we need to click with the mouse and then select all of tools that you want to put in a container. Oh, in this case it's too big, the tools, and I cannot choose all of the tools. If it's difficult to see or even to select, we can just click here in this button, zoom out, and zoom out a little bit our workflow, and now it's easier to select the tools. So I will select only the blue ones and then click with the right button of the mouse, upper one of them, and then click in this add to new container. ALTERYX automatically will do that, put all of these tools inside a container. When we do that, we can just go here in the configuration of container and change the name. So the name of this container will be preparation tools. And also when you do that, you can just change the text color, fill color, or border color. I will change the fill color for blue. Nothing happening now, but when I click out of the configuration, the container just changed the color. Okay, I will click again in the container, and if, for example, oh my god, I choose the wrong tools and put the wrong tools inside the container, I need to delete this container. How can I do that? Just click in the title of the container with the red button and select it, not delete, okay, not delete container only. Be careful, if you delete here, you delete also the container and the tools inside it. Okay, so go to the delete container only, click in the delete container only, and then just select again the tools, click with the right button in one of them, add to new container, and change the name and whatever. So the name is again preparation 2. The fill color I will change for blue now. Okay, click in the bottom, okay, click out to change the color. Now I will put this container in this part. I can use the same structure of container in the input tools. I will just select them, add to new container as well, put in line with the other container, change the name for input tools. Now the fill color I will change for green. Click out, and now I have 2 containers. Okay, now I will put a comment over here as well. If you don't want to select a new comment and the setting all of the stuff that you did in this container, just click in one that has the properly settings, and then click out and copy and paste, and then continue with your comment here. Just click and change the text. For example, this is the second part of the workflow. That's it. So I have the comment here, and another one was horizontally aligned with the other. Okay, perfectly. But the container is not using just to document our workflow. We can use the container for other purposes as well. If you look in the superior part of the container, in the left part, there is a key, a little key. If you put your mouse, the message disable container will appear. If you click here, the key becomes gray, and the container becomes like lightly color, which means that if you click in the button run, the ALTERYX will run only the tools outside the container, right? The tools inside the container will not run with this button. That's why you use container. If you have a workflow with a lot of data and specific parts of your workflow that you don't need to run every time that you click in the button run, just use the container and disable them. Okay, if you want to come back and run again, just click in the key again, enable the container, and click in the run. Okay guys, so let's save our project, and for today I think we're ready. So guys, this is the first part of preparation 2 that I showed to you. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you like, don't don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment below what do you think about these tools and what these tools will match with your job in your company. So please let us know in the comments. Just write something for us, just keep in contact with us. This is an important thing for us. If you want to do the same project with me in this video and the next is one, just go to the description of this video, click in the download dataset button, and then take the dataset and do it with me. Okay, see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.